Happy New Year, and to all, a good riddance to 2025. That was a rough one. Now, I know I've made a career for several years of telling you that New Year's resolutions are a terrible idea. However, this year's a little bit different. For those of you who somehow missed this, I had a baby. It was reasonably traumatic. We spent 4 months in hospital. Since getting her home, I have found that if I don't have a to-do list, I do nothing. That's not true. I just take care of the baby and then sit with the baby and scroll on my phone. I can't do that for another 9 months. So I really like the idea of the people who do like a bingo card for their year. I find the grid format really hard to read, so I haven't put it into a grid, but it's the same basic idea. And obviously, we are only putting down things that are within my control. Your New Year's resolution should not be to get to 1 million subscribers. That's not down to you. That is down to random people on the internet. But you could make a goal for the year that you're going to put out a video every week. So that's where we're at. I need my phone. All right, if you hear grunting sounds off camera, that's my child. We will start with the category labeled the channel. So this year I want to make 3 videos of LARP costume basic. That is 3 more videos along the style of the 18th century petticoat, the tunic, or potentially even the kirtle video, because that one was close enough. I feel like my first one of those videos is probably going to be the surcoat video, because I've been working on that for over a year now. We'll get onto that. Part of the reason the surcoat video has taken so long is that I wanted to do, so I have a very simple low waist way of making a surcoat out of like a meter of fabric. And then you have like the historical surcoats, and then you have my favorite trick, which is getting existing patterns and making them into surcoats. And I wanted to do all 3 in the same video because I didn't think I could convincingly make an entire video out of just the first one. But maybe splitting them up is better. I don't know. This might just come down to, what do I have time for? Anyway, what's the next thing on the list? This is too much chat. 2 videos of sewing basics. So my videos are not usually aimed at people who are brand new to sewing. And that's okay. That's not my skill set. I am generally making videos for people who are a bit like me and do not want to sit through yet another explanation of how you sew a seam. I sort of assume that if you don't know that, you are capable of Googling it. However, I'm just not sure that there is that much good beginner sewing content on YouTube anymore. Certainly not recent, so I have been meaning to do a couple of like absolute basics. You're just picking up sewing, what do you need to know kind of videos. So they're on the list. Develop 2 new characters. I would like to go to more LARPs this year. Realistically, I have no idea if that's going to happen. On top of all the usual problems of people not running LARPs that sound good, I now have to contend with who is going to take care of this baby while I'm at a LARP. I will almost certainly get to go to 1 or 2, but those are for characters that have already been created and costumed, and I have very little to do for that. So hell with it. I'm not going to wait for LARPs anymore. I'm just going to make the characters and make their costumes and develop them in my own time. And I'm pretty sure I know what those 2 characters I want to be. One is a character who the LARP didn't run, so I never got to play them. It cancelled really late, so like I'd already bought the fabric and everything. And the other one is a LARP that I hope I get to play, but even if I don't, I'm going to start making their kit anyway because I'm excited. Revisit 3 old projects. I have started a lot of videos that I then abandoned for whatever reason. The problem is that I abandoned them all with the intention that I would get back to them at some point, and I have not. So we're doing that. 3 LARP videos. I am making you all sit through even more videos of me explaining LARP stuff to you. I know half of you don't care, but this is a LARP channel. You don't just get the sewing. So that's along the lines of my Your Costume Brief is Bad video, or even the Evermore video. I have a couple of ideas. Someone has suggested I do one about player support, which I think is a really good idea. Also, from a personal perspective, I want to sit down and rant for 25 minutes about why meetings in LARP are terrible and you should stop trying to have them. But we'll see, other stuff might come up. And then finally, I want to try and do minimum 2 short videos a week. Over the last couple of months, I've got really into doing short form video. It's really good because I can film and edit on my phone, sat next to the baby. That's not an issue. They don't take very long to make. There's quite a big audience for that. The trickiest bit, honestly, is remembering to cross-post them across all of the apps that do short form video, all of which are janky for different reasons. On that note, I have, because it was just messing with my statistics so badly, I have moved all of the short form videos off of this channel. I now have a new channel, which is just called AshLG Shorts, but you can see those on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok. And it's going quite well. I'm also not too bothered about having them on a separate channel. So when you start a whole new channel on YouTube, you have to hit all the monetization goals. Again, I don't care that they're not monetized on YouTube. Hey you, can I offer you a dummy instead? Yeah, I don't care that they're not monetized on YouTube because quite frankly, YouTube pays so poorly. So that is my channel goals. And like I said, these aren't really goals. It's more like a menu of things I would like to do. So if I'm ever stuck, I can be like, what did I say I wanted to do? The next category is sewing. 10 new wardrobe staples. That sounds like a lot, but remember it's across a whole year. So really it's like 1 a month. Wardrobe staples for me are usually very simple garments. You know, I could sit down and make 10 split side skirts. I probably could, out of the fabric that I've got. I could do that in under a week, even with the baby. But I would like for more clothes in my wardrobe to be stuff that I have made and that I want to wear. Make more accessories. I'm really bad for this, not having made like a full costume start to finish in a while has contributed really heavily to this because accessories are quite a lot of work for quite a small thing. They're not usually impressive on their own. I have lots of odd bits of fabric and a lot of time now for smaller projects, so I think it's probably a smart idea. On the other side of the spectrum, 2 big costumes. Big, multi-layer, all-inclusive costumes is secretly what I really want to be doing all of the time. The problem is that I have generally been putting those off in favor of simpler, quicker things that I can make something for a video. Here's the video, we're done. One of the things I'm not doing this year is holding myself to like a strict video schedule. You'll get them when you get them. And I do want to just leave myself room to dig into the stuff I'm really excited about again, which leads me on to the next one, start something that will take months. I have been doing, like I said, a lot of quick projects. I have not been settling into anything. I'm not expecting that I will finish this project this year even, but I would like to get into a project that I can work on very gradually over a long period of time. I have an idea for a couple of things that could be. The one I'm leaning towards most at the moment, I'm just going to say beading, and leave it there. 5 unfinished projects finished. I have so many unfinished projects at any time. It's kind of overwhelming. I'm not going to like try and get as many done as I can or anything like that. I'm just going to aim for 5 over the course of the year. And I'm already working on the first one of those. Use more trim. This one's very nebulous and open-ended, so it's basically just there as a reminder to myself. Again, I've been making really like simple, straightforward things, and the kind of trims I tend to have on me at any given time do not lend themselves to being thrown into the washing machine. So I don't tend to put trim on my like normal wardrobe stuff. But I have a heck ton of trim and I love trim. And so I should use more trim. Thankfully, the 2 characters that I have in my mind are both, shall we say, maximalist. So that should be fine. More indie patterns. In spite of the fact that I have a couple of hundred big 4 patterns, I want to use more patterns from small designers this year. And that leads on to my next one, which is 5 new to me patterns. I have developed a tendency to remake the same thing over and over again because the first one ends up being like a wearable mock-up, and then you refine it and you make another one and you refine it a bit more and you make another one, and by that point you've thought of like 4 different variations you could do for it. New to me patterns. I have kicked this off with a bang in the January sales. I got a little carried away. On top of the patterns that I already had, in the past couple of months, I have picked up the Mage Coat, Waterfall Cape, Veil Hood, Panel Dress, Shrug Jacket, Y Belt, Robe Dress, and Laced Tabard from Miss Visid. the Juniper and Sage dresses from Pattern Apothecary, the hanbok shirt and coat, the romantic top and dress, rectangle top and tie dress from Sewing Therapy via 209 Fabrics, the robin dress, fantail skirt, and all of the new 17th century patterns from Scroop. And I am waiting until I have a little bit more money, but I also have my eye on the Stitch Maiden website because they have a lot of accessory patterns that look extremely LARP suitable. So I don't think I'm going to have any problem with those two goals. Next we have other crafts. Knit 5 things on the knitting machine. I've not specified which knitting machine. Also, when I say 5 things, that could be 3 pairs of socks. That's 6 things. 100 hexie puffs. I'm under no illusions that I'm going to finish this quilt anytime soon, but I would like to at least make some progress. In a week or 2, my regular weekly tabletop will restart. We've had like a 6-month hiatus for understandable reasons, but I know that I can knit about 2.5 hexie puffs in a session. So that 100 actually feels very achievable. Hand knit something adult size. I've been hand knitting a lot of baby clothes and I'm really enjoying that, but I would like to make something for me. I have not specified what that thing is. It could be wrist warmers, but just something that is big enough for me. This one is ambitious. Use 3 kilograms of yarn. I am not someone who works well with the add up everything you've got and then count down approach of stash busting, but I would like to keep a track of everything I use this year. Honestly, not just yarn, also like fabric and other supplies. So at the end of the year, I can go, this year I have used this much stuff. And so yeah, my goal this year is 3 kilograms of yarn. That's a lot. For reference, that 100 hexie puffs is 250 grams. So 3 kilograms is a lot. Guess I better crack on with those blankets. Finished 10 quilts. That sounds excessive, but I have 5 quilts already that are sandwiched and just need quilting and binding. I've been putting that off for like 8 months at this point. I have 1 more finished quilt top that needs sandwiching, quilting and binding. And I have 1 more quilt top that is still in blocks, but all the blocks are made. I just need to sew them together, sandwich it, quilt it and bind it. So actually, I'm only doing 3 quilts start to finish this year. That still does sound a little bit ambitious given that I've finished precisely 0 quilts ever, but I just need some prompts to get me to finish the damn things. Spin 4 kilograms of fibre. That is again a little ambitious. I was surprised to learn that I have more than 4 kilograms of fibre, but I have at least 2.5 kilograms just in advent calendars. And I would also really like to do tour de fleece this year. I now have not just my regular spinning wheel, but I also have an e-spinner, which I have not used at all because I got it the week before I went into hospital. It's an ambitious target, but it feels doable. Mostly it's a prompt to me to remember to at least challenge myself some of the time to spin every day, but I don't like setting myself too many time-based goals, so which is why it's a cumulative total. I also know that I tend to binge on spinning rather than make it a regular project. However, leads me on to the next goal, which is practice long draw. Over December, I was watching Tashi from Stitches and Starlight doing the sit and spins with a supported long draw, and every single time I was just like, I need to be able to do that. Never really got the hang of it. If you go back and watch my video about how to spin, you can tell that I'm really struggling to try and demonstrate a long draw because I just can't do it. I want to fix that this year. This is a spicy one. Finish weaving. This loom takes up so much space and this project has been on there for such a long time, and I genuinely considered just cutting it off. And something about me got very stubborn and was like, no, I'm going to finish it. So I'm going to dig in and finish it this year. And then I'll have a massive, really ugly piece of fabric to figure out what I need to do with, but we'll worry about that later. And finally, in the other crafts section, we have try a new craft. This one is kind of like the free space. I suspect I will hit it multiple times. It's just inevitable with me, but I would love to try some new crafts this year. The really obvious one, of course, being Kumihimo, because I have all the stuff, but there's a couple of things that I've just been keeping my eye on. And finally, we have a little section that I've just called Lifestyle, which is less to do with like stuff that you guys will see. It's just for me. I've put read 2 books a month. Even with the baby, I am averaging about double that. That feels very doable, but it's a nice reminder to just sort of keep up with it. I got very into reading on my commute to work. Now, I obviously don't have a commute, so I just need a little nudge to remember that that's the thing that I really enjoy and want to keep doing. Draw 3 times a week. I used to draw all the time up to probably the end of university. I think the end of university was when I stopped like regularly keeping a sketchbook, and it became more of an occasional thing, and now I basically just don't do it at all. In May of last year, I got myself a drawing tablet for the computer with the full intention of getting back into it, because of all of the skills. I follow a lot of crafty and artistic people on YouTube and on Instagram. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, yeah, I could do that, I could try that, but the one thing that I look at and go, I can't do that, and it bugs me that I can't do that, is people who draw or paint or illustrators, and I want to get back into it. Like I said, I got the tablet, I got the drawing program, I even set myself some goals in terms of like, what do I want to do with this? What is it for? What things would I like to be able to do? And then I just didn't. Again, for understandable reasons, but I just didn't do anything with it. So I just want to get into the habit of drawing regularly. On a similar note, write every day. I have kept up on my writing, again, not really over the past few months, but I have so many works in progress, and I'm not specifying what kind of writing that is or how much it is. It can be a sentence every day, but whether it's, my book blog that I write, or working on some of the LARP game projects that I have, or whether it's fiction, I'm just going to try and write some words every day. And then the final one is probably the most challenging. I have just put focus on movement. I'm not a big fan of fitness goals. I find that they just don't work very well. But also I got really sick and then sat down for 4 months, and I can tell. I have lost a lot of flexibility, I've lost a lot of strength. My goal for this year is not to do anything dramatic, it's just to keep our focus on movement. So I want to go walking more. That's pretty good because you can take the baby. It would be good to get back into yoga because I have lost a lot of flexibility. I will obviously be carrying on with archery. We've been back at archery for about 3 months at this point, 2.5, and I just hit a new personal best. So I'm finally at the point that I was before baby was born. So onwards and upwards from here, and who knows, maybe I will end up getting a new bow for the next outdoor season. I had planned to ask for a new bow for Christmas because last summer I was feeling that I had got really comfortable with my current draw weight, and I was like, okay, cool, we can go up one, because especially for outdoors I was not getting to the silly distances. And then I stopped shooting for 4 months, and so that didn't happen, but I could see myself going up a draw weight this year. Anyway, that is detail that you don't need, and the baby is getting hungry. So I do also have a little list of goals, of things that I would like to do or achieve this year. I'm keeping that private because no one else needs to know that. It's stuff that I'm not going to beat myself up over if I don't achieve it, and so it doesn't need to be shared with anyone else. But that's pretty much it from me for now. What are your New Year's resolutions? What's on your 2026 bingo card? Do you have any other ways of tracking your goals and progress over the course of the year that you'd like to share in the comments? Please do. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to keep the YouTube gods happy. Down in the description box you'll find links to follow me on other places, including now the new Shorts channel. You'll also find a link to my Ko-fi page or the link to become a channel member. Channel memberships gets you early access to all of my videos and a couple of other little perks. Ko-fi lets you decide exactly how much you want to pay, and I publish my book blog in both places. No matter how you choose to support the channel, whether that's memberships, Ko-fi, or just liking, subscribing and watching, I couldn't do what I do without your help. Dream big, and I'll see you next time.